to the third annual Mayor Holiday Basketball Tournament at Lake Clifton Senior High School. We're joined this afternoon by Bob Wade, who's our game analyst. And Bob, let's talk a little bit about the tournament in its third year. And you were telling me before we got on that this year you had to actually turn away teams who wanted to participate.
Exactly, Gary. A few years ago when we started the tournament, we had basically maybe 40 teams. This year we had around 70 teams, and we had to turn away a lot of teams. Such teams coming from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Perry Hall. So there were a lot of teams that were very interested in the Mayor's Holiday Tournament, but unfortunately we were not able to service all those teams that applied.
Well, tonight's game will be the lowest division, the 8 to 10-year-old, and it's going to be very interesting to see because, as we've seen over the last couple of years, we've actually been able to watch these kids grow up, and tonight we're going to see the youngest ones, 8 to 10.
I like this age group, Gary, because you know, they're right there in the what we call the formative years. They're learning the basic fundamentals that will really carry them onto the junior high and senior high level. So it's a fun age. You'll see a lot of rather highly skilled youngsters out there tonight also.
Okay, two rec centers, one from Cherry Hill, and the Bentalou Rec Center will be going at it, the 8 to 10-year-old division. Sit back and relax. We'll have the opening tip for you when we come back to Lake Clifton right after.
Do you think it doesn't matter if you do drugs? Well, it does matter, because drugs can make kids die and go away. Then there'll be no best friends to play basketball with. No little brothers or sisters to show how to ride a bike. No you. And that'll make a lot of people sad. You're too special to do drugs. Don't do drugs. Don't die and go away.
And welcome back to Lake Clifton High School for the Mayor's third annual Holiday Basketball Tournament, the 8 to 10 championship, the boys. Gary Stein along with Bob Wade. Our game tonight will be the Cherry Hill Patapsco Recreation Center, coached by Alonzo Lynn. They'll be in their blue jerseys. And the Bentalou Recreation Center, coached by Herman Johnson, will be in their red jerseys. And let's tell you how Cherry Hill got here. Cherry Hill in the semifinals was able to beat C.C. Jackson 46-2, and then went on to beat Madison Square 22-8 to earn a bid here in the finals. And as far as Bentalou is concerned, they had a 2-0 forfeit over Roland Park in their first game, and in the semifinal, a very exciting 17-15 victory over an annually tough Cecil Kirk Rec Center. And Bob, tell us a little bit about the Cherry Hill Patapsco Rec Center, coached by Alonzo Lynn.
Well, Coach Lynn has done a fine job with those youngsters coming out of Cherry Hill, but a lot of credit must also be given to Miss Bacolia Taylor, Mr. Nathaniel Brown, and Mr. Garrett. They're three of our Recreation Center directors working out of the Cherry Hill community, and they've done a lot of clinics and fundamental type of things for the youngsters in Cherry Hill. That's making Coach's job that much easier, but he's done a masterful job working with those youngsters.
Of course, Bentalou Rec Center does not need any introduction, coached by Herman Johnson. You and I were talking earlier, the great players, the great names that have gone on to high school and college from that rec center, not only basketball-wise, but he's done, you know, well in the community also.
Herman does an outstanding job at the Bentalou Recreation Center. Not only does he teach the skills of basketball, but of course he works very hard with the youngsters academically. He believes in academics, and I really applaud him for that. Herman has been around a long time. While coaching at Dunbar, I was fortunate enough to land a couple of youngsters out of his program, namely Herman Hareed and not Herman Hareed, I'm sorry, Carl James. We called him Booby James.
Absolutely.
And of course Rudy Archer went on to join me at the University of Maryland, but year in, year out, he's done just a masterful job over there at Bentalou.
Alonzo Lynn also over at Cherry Hill, as they are about ready to take on the Bentalou Ball Club. Once again, this is the 8 to 10 boys championship, and we'll be having different age groups for you on Cable 44 throughout the holiday weekend. We'll also be bringing you the boys 12 to 14-year-old championship, the girls 15 and under championship, and then the big game, one that I'm sure everyone looks earlier that it was growing. What is the feeling as far as the Department of Rec and Parks is concerned for the future?
Well, as far as the Department of Recreation and Parks, we feel extremely proud, and we're very fortunate to have this tournament to go into its third year. We look for nothing but positive things coming out of this tournament for future years, but more importantly, it serves the community.
All right, here we go. Cherry Hill in the blue. They control the tip. Bentalou will be in the red. The boys 8-10 championship underway. We've got 4 8-minute quarters for you, running time. And Cherry Hill gets off to a good start. Curtis Johnson puts it in, and they lead it 2-0.
That's a good way for Cherry Hill to get on the board. A nice driving layup to begin the game.
Down inside for the big man for Bentalou, Karen Parrott. The ball goes over to Cherry Hill. They lead it 2-0 early here in the championship contest. Nice pass underneath for Henry James, but it's waved off. And the ball turns over to Bentalou. A little bit about Herman Johnson. Of course, we talked about him earlier. How many years has he been there? It seems like he's been there forever.
I think Herman has a good 25 years in the Department of Recreation and Parks.
Pass from Parrott is stolen away by Michael Campbell of Cherry Hill. Now stolen back by Bentalou. Dwayne Banks goes in for the layup, and Banks is fouled, and he will go to the line. Bentalou looks like they have some pretty good size out there, Bob.
They have excellent size. I was just looking at the young kid, Parrott. He's number 4 out there, and he's a student at Alexander Hamilton High School.
Dwayne Banks, the youngster at the line, a Calverton Middle School student, and he will get to shoot the second of 2 here. Can't get either, but the offensive rebound pulled down by Damon Banks. His shot won't go, and finally goes into the hands of Cherry Hill. They lead it 2-0 early. 5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Shot thrown up by Cherry Hill's Michael Vaughn. It won't go, and the rebound comes down to Bentalou.
Boy, I said Damon Banks came up with a big-time rebound that time, Gary. Got possession of it, stood up, and got some space, and got a little respect inside.
There's a look at Alonzo Lynn, the head basketball coach at Cherry Hill. He sees his club lead at 2-0. Ball belongs to Bentalou. Driving to the hoop down the right baseline, and the ball goes off of his foot, I believe. And the ball will go over to Cherry Hill.
Coach Lynn has his players employed in a 2-1-2 full court press.
Pass underneath is converted.
Good bucket.
They lead it 4-0 now, does Cherry Hill. That basket belongs to Ronaldo Rawlings. 4-0 Cherry Hill underneath for Parrott. And he is fouled apparently by Charles Forbes. And Parrott will get a chance to go to the line.
Good. Cherry Hill really broke that press very easily.
And we've got the replay coming up here, Bob.
Well, actually, it was a nice entry pass, but of course it slips off the young man's hand and lands into his teammate. Easy bucket. But Cherry Hill is doing a fine job of breaking that full court press that's been set up by Coach Johnson's Bentalou squad.
Karen Parrott, an Alexander Hamilton middle school student, misses the first of 2 and can't get the second either. So early on, Bentalou having trouble from the line. They're 0 of 4. Ball kept in play, and I believe it'll still belong with Bentalou.
Bentalou has really pounded the boards well early in the game.
Good hustle by Keith Laney, number 12 for Bentalou, and a timeout taken by the Cherry Hill club. They lead it 4-0 early. And with 3 minutes and 56 seconds to play in the first quarter. Bob, let's go a little bit over the rules. We've got 4 8-minute quarters here, but from what I understand, in the fourth quarter, and it's basically running time. But in the fourth quarter, I think the clock stops.
Clock stops at the last 2 minutes of that quarter, and coaches are able to. Well, the feeling is, you know, that's the bread and butter time, and you really don't need the clock to be running, and you really give the coaches an opportunity to do some substituting, do a lot of strategic movements in the game.
Here's a good look at Herman Johnson teaching these youngsters, and he's had quite a few over the years. As we mentioned earlier, Marty Johnson, among many at the Bentalou Rec Center. And he has done a job for close to 25 years. 3:56 to go here in the first quarter, and Cherry Hill leads it 4-0. Bentalou with the ball, but good pressure now by Cherry Hill. And a loose ball fought for, and the arrow will point to Cherry Hill. Good work by Charles Ford.
Cherry Hill is really scrappy early in this ball game. They're doubling the first pass and the second pass.
Coached well by Alonzo Hill. Now, let's see what Bentalou can come up with as they do get the ball back. Pass down low for Dwayne Banks, and the shot won't go, and Cherry Hill comes out with it quickly. A foul in the backcourt here, committed by Benalou's number 11, Duran Strickland. And our sideline reporter this afternoon is Jefferson Slade. Let's check in with him. Jefferson?
Thanks, Gary. I had a chance to listen in on the huddle for the Bentalou team. The head coach, Herman Johnson, wants his team to pass the ball more. They're not passing the ball as much as they need to, and he told his team not to panic, and it's early in the game, and they're really still in the ball game. Back to you, Gary.
All right, sounds good. From Jefferson Slade, 3:17 to go in the first quarter. Cherry Hill still clinging to a 4-0 lead. Once again, Cherry Hill got here by beating C.C. Jackson 46-2 in the quarterfinal, and then upending Madison Square 22-8 in a semi. Shot thrown up and in. Beautiful shot. Number 3, Michael Campbell gets it for Cherry Hill, and all of a sudden they jumped out to a 6-0 lead.
It looked like Bentalou was playing a 1-1-3 zone. Got some chasers out front.
And Bentalou gets back into the ball game. Damon Banks with a running one-hander from the corner. Count it, and he will go to the line as Alonzo Lynn looks on. Let's take a look at the replay, Bob.
It's a nice move to the basket, and he gets one.
Off the glass it goes. Damon Banks, Mary E. Rodman, middle school student, can't hit the free throw. Bentalou 0 of 5 from the line. Pass from Porter for Strickland. His shot won't go, and finally the ball comes out to Cherry Hill. Up ahead for Campbell. And Campbell turns it over, and the ball belongs to Bentalou. 6-2 Cherry Hill leads it, though.
Oh, Gary, I tell you, I really like the way Cherry Hill is advancing the ball to court. They really get the ball up rather quickly. And, of course, now they fall back into a 2-3 zone.
6-2 Cherry Hill leads it. Ball in the hands of Dwayne Banks. Now gets it up top for Damon Banks. And Banks puts it in. He's got all 4 for Bentalou, and they're right back in the game.
Right back into it. It's a full court pressure again.
Full court pressure, but it is broken by Cherry Hill. Good entry pass underneath. The shot won't go. Rebound. Putback won't go. Third try still doesn't go. And finally comes out to Bentalou. Here comes Bentalou the other way. Stripped. Keith Laney had it stripped. A foul. Traveling called on Cherry Hill. The ball goes back to Bentalou with 1:17 to play. Running time here in the first quarter.
Both of these teams are very, very scrappy.
Bentalou with the basketball. Corner for Laney.
Good pass.
Nice dish underneath for Lamont Johnson. Johnson can't put it in. It's finally stolen away by Cherry Hill. A wild shot thrown up and partially blocked by Dwayne Banks. And lands in the hands of the Bentalou Ball Club with 41 seconds to play in the first quarter. 6-4. Cherry Hill leads it by 2.
Little Michael Vaughn kind of rushed that shot for Cherry Hill just now, Gareth.
Bentalou has possession. Banks goes in underneath. Ball goes out of bounds off of Cherry Hill, and it will remain with Bentalou with 19 seconds to play in the first quarter. A very loud crowd here at the Lake Clifton Gym. 3-point attempt thrown up by Laney. It was no good. Pass comes all the way back down as Cherry Hill advances. Count it. And a foul with 4 seconds to go in the first quarter. Let's watch it again on the replay.
That's a nice baseball pass down court. Bentalou fails to make the interception of the ball, and of course Cherry Hill gets the easy birdie and one.
And going to the line will be Michael Campbell, who's had a good first quarter. No other players on the court. His time has expired here in the quarter. Alonzo Lynn talking to his Cherry Hill club, seeing them up 8-4 right now. And if Campbell can convert, he would turn it into a 5-point lead. Campbell's free throw is good, and so Cherry Hill takes a 9-4 lead at the end of the first quarter, rather. And Bob, we can't emphasize, although this youngster is apparently not taking the game in right now.
That's what you call loving care.
we can't emphasize the importance of free throws any more than this stat. It's 9-4. Cherry Hill leads by 5. Bentalou 0 for 5 in the first quarter from the free throw line.
That's the difference of the ball game. But I think what Coach Johnson's probably telling his youngsters now is, so really settle down. The first quarter's behind you. Let's settle down. And I think they're really going to look to go inside to what's his name, Dwayne Banks and Damon Banks. They're the two big kids inside, and I know they're going to be looking for him. And he's giving last-minute instructions now to Banks.
All right, we'll see what the Bentalou club does. They come out in red, Cherry Hill in blue. In case you just joined us, 9-4 the score. Cherry Hill leads it after one quarter. This is the 8-10 boys championship.
Good move.
A pretty move in the lane for Cherry Hill. That is Charles Forbes. And Cherry Hill now has jumped out to an 11-4 lead. They're up by 7. 7:45 to play in the first half. Nice drive into the paint by Bentalou's number 11, Deron Strickland.
Excellent drive.
And Strickland earns the trip to the line with Bentalou 0 of 5 right now.
As we said before, they've got to start converting these free throws, Gary, because it's running time. And every free throw counts.
Strickland cannot break the string. Bentalou 0 for 6 from the line. 7:15 to go in the first half. Strickland's second shot still no good. 0 of 7 from the line for Bentalou, and that's been the story early. Here comes Cherry Hill with the basketball. Forbes dribbles it the other way. Good pressure from the Bentalou club, and a foul called on Bentalou. Looks like it'll be on number 1, Damon Banks. Banks, the force for Bentalou early in the first half, is saddled with a foul. Now a couple of substitutions come in as Parrott checks out for Bentalou, as does number 12, Keith Lehman. 2 new youngsters come in. Darrell Johnson was checked into the game, along with Dominic Brown from Calverton Middle School. 6:19 to play in the ball game, or rather in the first half. 11-4. Cherry Hill leads it, Bentalou ball. Strickland has it. Now right side.
There's that transition.
Julius, and stolen back by Bentalou, but the ball will go back to Cherry Hill.
You see Coach Lynn give his player a very kind kiss on the...
keeping him right there.
Tell him to settle down.
Shot put up by Cherry Hill's Henry James. It's long, won't go. Transition the other way. Bentalou not able to convert on the field goal attempt. Dwayne Banks was fouled, however, and Banks will go to the line for Bentalou.
You know, Bentalou's doing a better job now of limiting Cherry Hill to one shot, getting a rebound, and getting themselves out on possibly easy transition baskets.
The foul was committed by Cherry Hill's Michael Campbell. And Dwayne Banks will go to the line. Youngster from Calverton Middle School. First free throw is good. He finally got the first one.
Excellent release. Followed through well. He's got a lot of growing to do. He's going to be a nice-sized player.
Banks' second of 2 is no good, so he's 1 of 2. Bentalou 1 of 9 from the line this afternoon. 11-5 the score. Cherry Hill leads it. 4:53 to go first half. Shot put up by Cherry Hill won't go. Good outlet. Nice outlet pass for Strickland. Can he beat the coverage down?
Right.
Yes, he does. Ron Strickland puts Bentalou back in the game. 11-7 the score. Cherry Hill by 4.
That was a nice layup. Plus, it was on his left side of the basket.
Good
right-hand player. Good pass.
By Banks. Finally is stolen by Banks.
And another one.
Goes again. Ron Strickland now 2 for 2 in transition. 11-9, and this press is working for Bentalou, Bob.
Yes, it is. They're set up in a 2-2-1 press now.
Finally for Cherry Hill, Naran Lewis able to advance it up court, but here comes Strickland the other way, and he is fouled, and a good thing, because Strickland converts on the other end. Lamont Johnson draws the foul for Cherry Hill. And all of a sudden, Bentalou has found the touch. They have run off the last 5 points to cut the deficit to 11-9.
Yes, they have. They're rebounding well. They're getting the outlet pass down court. And Coach Johnson has really turned up the pressure now.
Take a look at the last basket here.
This is an excellent layup by Strickland. A nice assist on Banks' part.
And back to live action here. A foul called on Cherry Hill. And the ball will remain with Bentalou. Inbounding him here from the near side, Dwayne Banks. In the corner for Dominic Brown, who puts up a shot. It won't go, and Cherry Hill pulls down the rebound. Outlet pass up ahead, intended for James, is picked off by Bentalou. Foul, and that will be actually an offensive foul. Dominic Brown tried to advance it. Past Charles Forbes, and Forbes will get him to commit the foul. 2:55 to play in the half. Cherry Hill leads it by 2, 11-9. Henry James goes all the way. His shot off the glass, it won't go. Ball is loose underneath and off of Cherry Hill. Will belong to Bentalou with 2:43 to play in the first half.
Got another substitute coming in for Bentalou.
Darren Down checks in, number 3. And number 9, Dominic Brown, checks out. Bentalou ball between the circles. That's Down, who just came into the ball game. Pass intended in the right corner for Banks is stolen away by Forbes, and a foul will be called on Banks.
You know, Bentalou is not, they're not resting in that zone. They're going out attacking in the zone. They're doubling the first pass.
2:11 to go in the half. Alonzo Lynn not happy with the call, but his team will have the ball.
Exactly.
Are coaches ever happy?
Never.
Spoken like a true coach.
I tell you.
Cherry Hill ball, under 2 minutes to go now in the first half. They lead it by 2. 11-9 is the score. Advanced by Forbes, but Forbes hounded by his Bentalou defender, number 11, Deron Strickland, and Strickland will draw the foul. And with under 2 minutes in the quarter, the clock stops on the foul. Entry pass underneath, shot off the iron, it won't go, taken by James. Pulled down by Bentalou, and a turnover by the Bentalou club. Number 10, DeAndre Julius, turned it over.
Excuse me, Gary. Bentalou they're in such a haste to get that ball down the court. They've begun to turn it over a lot, so they got to settle down.
Shot taken by James, but Cherry Hill won't go. Outlet pass, too long. Finally picked up by Strickland. Strickland has a lot of speed. He's been able to lead that break. He draws the foul, and he'll go to the line.
Strickland has a nose for the basketball. He seems to always be around the ball.
Take a look at that last exchange here.
He just out-hustled the Cherry Hill player for that ball. And he comes up with the foul.
So Deron Strickland has been very impressive so far here in the first half. He earns a trip to the line. And Strickland's free throw is short. 1 of 10 from the line for Bentalou. He trail it by 2, 11-9. Second shot won't go, 1 of 11. Hate to belabor the point. Johnson hauls in the rebound, but it's stolen away by Cherry Hill. Up the other way, 1:24 to play in the half. Nice save down low by James. His pass back for Forbes, or check it, not Forbes. Rather, it is Campbell. And Campbell will now go to the line.
This is a quick quick-paced game. They really get the ball up and down. And just think, these are 8 to 10-year-old young men with a tremendous amount of talent.
Michael Campbell maybe doesn't believe he's going to the line because he was going to take the ball in bounds. But he earns a couple of free throws. 59 seconds to play in the half. Cherry Hill trying to extend a 2-point lead. First shot is short. When you're teaching kids, and these are kids, 8 to 10 years old, is free throw shooting the first thing that you try to impress upon them?
Well, you try to, first of all, you want them to feel comfortable with the ball. And one way of working on a youngster's shot is, of course, from the free throw line or the hash mark down inside. You want that good release. But a lot of times you will start from the free throw line to make a youngster feel comfortable with the basketball.
That was Lamont Johnson dribbling it up for Cherry Hill. The shot was taken by Ronaldo Rawlings. It's no good. And
good shot.
There's the little man, the young man, Deron Strickland, with another pair. He's got 6 points. And all of a sudden, Bentalou has forged into an 11-11 tie. 22 seconds to play. A turnover here committed by Cherry Hill's number 1. That's Lamont Johnson. And Bentalou with a chance to take its first lead here in the first half.
Good pass.
Underneath for Strickland. He is rejected by Charles Forge, but finally put back up and in by Strickland.
That was a nice give and go on Banks' part between Banks and Strickland.
David Banks with a nice pass. And at the half, well, we've got a whistle right before the half had expired. We'll wait to see what the call is, but right now Bentalou leads it 13-11. They've ripped off the last 9 points here in the first half, and Alonzo Hill has seen his club go from a 7-point lead to a 2-point deficit. And it could be more
if
as Bentalou's Deron Strickland now will go to the line with no time showing on the first half clock. And a hush comes over the crowd. See if this youngster can do it. First free throw, no good. Strickland has 8 of the 13 points here in the first half. And we will take a break for halftime, as actually that was a 1-and-1. Strickland could not convert. So Bentalou has forged ahead by 2. We'll come back with our second half right after these words.
Vince, that new dummy cam is great.
Yeah, it'll sure give people a whole new outlook on what it's like when you don't wear a safety belt.
I think they'll get the picture.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Hello, Baltimore. This is Gary Stein, inviting you to join me each week for City Sports Scene, where we'll sift through highlights, trivia questions, issues, and challenges facing area athletes. You'll meet sports newsmakers from all walks of life. This week on City Sports Scene, it's heavy on high school basketball. We'll take a look at the programs at Northern, Towson Catholic, and the girls program at Western. We'll also talk Baltimore Spirit indoor soccer as they claim first place in the American Division. City Sports Scene and you connect at these times. Welcome back to the 3rd annual Mayor's Holiday Basketball Tournament. Cable Channel 44, of course, very proud to be here. And you see in the background there the trophies, Bob. And, of course, that's what the kids are playing for.
Well, you know, yeah. Anytime you play in a tournament, you know, youngsters like to receive some type of recognition. And, of course, we have the trophies for them. But it's more than just receiving a trophy. It's the opportunity to participate in a very wholesome and well-structured activity. And the championship game is just a culminating activity of the entire event.
And it's been a very good championship game so far, a very close one. Bentalou has pulled ahead of Cherry Hill, 13-11 at the half. Alonzo Lynn, the head basketball coach at Cherry Hill, saw his troops take an 11-4 lead early, and Bentalou had trouble at the line. But all of a sudden, Bentalou turned up the defensive pressure, got a couple of transition baskets. They now have a 2-point lead at the half.
And I think when the half ended, Bentalou, they had the momentum going into the half, thanks to Mr. Strickland. Strickland's come in and has really sparked them. I think he scored something like 8 points, 8 of the 13 points. But Bentlou's got to settle down now, and they've got to make their free throws. I think they missed in the neighborhood of 12 free throws, Gary.
1 for 12, and Herman Johnson, who you see there in your picture, cannot be too pleased at that, but he does have his team leading it by 2 after one half. Here we go, second half action. Cherry Hill in the light blue jerseys and Bentalou in the red. Cherry Hill basketball, entry pass underneath, and then back out intended for Lamont Johnson. And the ball apparently will go over to Bentalou.
Yeah, I think Cherry Hill was called for a 3-second lane violation.
Bentalou basketball, Dwayne
Good
Banks
pass.
Underneath for Damon Banks. So the Banks, I guess they're brothers, maybe not, pull that one off. And Damon Banks will go to the line. Bob, let's take a look at the last play.
That's a nice little entry pass.
Banks to Banks. And Damon Banks will go to the line. 7:06 to play in the third quarter. Damon Banks' free throw is good.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great sign for Bentalou. Start making those free throws. They got nice sized kids inside.
The second one won't go. They're 2 of 14, but Damon Banks gets the rebound, commits the foul, and the ball will go over to Cherry Hill.
I'll tell you, Herman's very upset about that call. He felt his youngster was fouled, as opposed to having the travel call.
14-11 the score. Bentalou by 3. 5:29 to play in the third quarter. It's running time, but clock stops in the last 2 minutes at the half and at the end of the game. 2 tries by Cherry Hill, can't get it. Bentalou comes out. Nice outlet pass for Dwayne Banks. Can he take it all the way? No. He got fouled. Ronaldo Rawlings came in from behind, and Dwayne Banks will go to the line.
I'll tell you, I really like the size of Dwayne Banks. He's a tall, lanky kid.
Take a look at the end-to-end action.
Yeah, this is a good block here. Good block, nice fight for the basketball. Cherry Hill misses the second attempt, and the big fella brings it down.
Damon Banks with the block shot and the rebound, and Dwayne Banks now gets the free throw. So Bentalou shooting much better from the line in the second half. They're 2 of 3, as Banks will try his second shot here.
I think he called the first one off glass.
Off glass.
But he made the second one, Gary.
So 2 of 2 from there. They're now 4 of 16 from the line. And Bentalou opened up a 5-point lead, 16-11. Cherry Hill has not scored since they had an 11-4 lead. Shot rejected underneath. Boy, this Damon Banks, that's 2 rejections now in the last 2 trips down.
I'm telling you. This was a nice block. That's little Lewis. Lewis made a little spin move, a little floater, and was blocked. And there's Banks again, sending it out of there. He's telling Bentalou. I'm sorry, he's telling Cherry Hill, this is my lane.
Don't come
stay
here.
out of it. Yeah.
Bentalou substitution number 8, Denard Tucker, checks into the game. At the line for Cherry Hill is LaCurtis Johnson, and he makes 1 of 2, 16-12. So Cherry Hill finally scores a bucket. Outside shot taken by Darren Down. It's no good. The rebound is good, but let's see if it counts. So far, the story early in the game for Bentalou has been the defensive play of Damon Banks and the offense of Deron Strickland. There's a look at Damon Banks, who was just called for that foul.
Damon Banks is called for the over-the-back foul. And a nice rebound, but of course, he came over the top.
16-12 our score. Bentalou by 4. Nice pass underneath.
There he is.
Shot on the baseline won't go, but Banks pulls it down. Great game for Damon Banks. Now the other way, Bentalou comes, and a foul. Nice baseline move by number 2, Dwayne Banks, the Banks kids. And Dwayne Banks will go to the line.
Damon Banks is playing one whale of a ball game. He has really settled down, and he's controlling both offensive and defensive boards for Coach Johnson's Bentalou Bombers.
Damon Banks, a Mary E. Rodman middle school student. Dwayne Banks from Calverton Middle goes to the line. His free throw no good. 3:19 to play in the third quarter for the championship of the boys 8 to 10 age division. And a very close game it's been. Second shot won't go. Kept in, though, by Banks, who puts it up and in.
Big fella.
Well, Damon Banks and Dominic, or rather Deron Strickland, the 2 stars so far for Bentalou. They have asserted themselves. Shot won't go. Pulled down by Strickland. Up ahead for Dwayne Banks. And he converts. And all of a sudden it's 20 to 12.
Oh, they're really on a tear. Bentalou is on a tremendous run.
A 16-1 run since the middle of the second quarter. 2:35 to play in the third quarter. The shot is short. Put back by Rawlings. His shot won't go, and finally pulled down by Banks. And can he go coast to coast? Yes, he does. Everything but the shot. Down shot won't go. But a foul underneath by Forbes, and Darren Down will go to the line.
Boy, Damon Banks is a one-man wrecking crew.
Let's watch Damon Banks.
He gets the rebound. He takes it to the basket and just doesn't quite get it to go down. But of course they got the foul.
It was kept alive by Strickland, who's the other member that's really creating havoc. And Down put the shot up, draws the foul, and he goes to the line. 2:19 to play in the third quarter. And Bentalou has opened up an 8-point lead. That'll be 5 fouls on that gentleman that just walked off, Charles Forbes. And he, of course, has to go out of the ball game. Charles Forbes in the 5th grade. That's got to hurt.
I tell you. He's a 5th grader at Anne Arundel Elementary School, School 164. Had the pleasure of meeting the principal, outstanding educator.
Down's first free throw, no good for Bentalou. Let's see if he can put in the second. His shot is off the glass, no good. And it's pulled down by Rawlings. Cherry Hill's got to get something going. Can't do it that time. Campbell took it all upon himself. But the the defensive rebound was pulled down by Banks once again. And now Dwayne Banks will go, will actually have drawn the foul, and he will take it out from the near side.
Gary, I've been very impressed with little Darren Downs since Coach Johnson inserted him midway through the second quarter. He's really come in, and as number 3, he's really come in and settled his teammates down. He's running the offense. He's real scrappy, keeping balls alive.
Bentalou looks to be a very well-balanced club. They've got some speed. They've got good height. And here's Damon Banks again. Not only does he get the rebounding and the block shots, but he's a pretty good ball handler, too.
Yeah, they're using it to release pressure.
Turned it over that time, but still a very fine young player. Cherry Hill ball with 45 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Banks with the steal.
Again.
Up ahead to Dwayne Banks. Banks lays it up and in. 22 to 12 is our score. Cherry Hill the other way.
Good pass. Excellent pass.
Excellent pass. The pass was made by Jabbar Foster, who had just checked into the game. Didn't catch the number. There it is, number 10. Curtis Johnson put it in for Cherry Hill, and here they come up ahead again, but the pass is stolen away by Banks. That's Dwayne Banks. Up ahead to Damon Banks. With the left hand, he goes in.
I like that.
Draws the foul and goes to the line.
I like that. That's very good. Nice fundamental. Felt pressure on his right side and tried to lay it up with his left hand.
Take a look at the last basket made by Cherry Hill.
This is a nice pass.
And LaCurtis Johnson converts it.
Takes his time and kiss it off the glass, aim for the square.
That's right, uses the square. And time has elapsed now here in the third quarter. 22-14 our score. Alonzo Lynn has to try to take his club back from an 8-point deficit. And Mr. Banks cannot put that first free throw in.
He just repositioned himself in the line, moved down.
And that one he got. So, Herman Johnson's Bentalou Rec Center takes a 9-point lead into the final 8 minutes of play. 23-14 is the score. And what does Mr. Johnson tell his club right now? He obviously has to be pleased with them as they've made up the difference plus 9.
He's got to be extremely proud of his young men, having been down at the beginning of the ball game, now coming back, struggling with the free throws. He's probably telling them just to settle down. And this is what I used to tell my youngsters. This is the money period. This is what it's all about. Fourth quarter, you got to really move the basketball, play together as a team, try to limit our turnovers, and more importantly, let's start converting our free throws.
They have taken from an 11-4 deficit, gone on a 19-3 run. They scored 19 of the last 22 points to take a 23-14 lead as the fourth quarter begins. Bentalou in the red. They've got the ball to start. Banks again. He can't put the shot in after a good steal. And now the other way for Cherry Hill. Got a nice contribution from Javon Foster, who's checked in, but the ball goes back over. Here's Banks up ahead. Beats the field, lays it up, won't go, but he will go to the line.
Cherry Hill's really rushing their shots now. Coach Lynn has got to get his youngsters settled down.
Take a look at the chase.
It's Mr. Banks.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to call him Damon Money in the Banks. Take that, Chris Berman.
How about that?
All right. 7:15 to play, and Damon Banks goes to the line. He got a nice rotation on it. Shooter's touch gets it in. 24-14.
But they made him move to his left now. He's so find the rim. Good rebound.
Rebound and the basket underneath. Let's get that number for you. That was Dwayne Banks. So the Banks boys turning the trick here in the second half.
Good rebound.
Shot put up by Campbell. Banks with the rebound, stolen away. Shot won't go. And a loose ball underneath, and I think it'll belong with Cherry Hill.
Boy, did you see that rebound that...
Let's take a look at it right here.
Look at this rebound. This is a big-time rebound. Give it to me. And of course, little Lewis just takes it away from him.
That's right, Neron Lewis. And Lewis now dribbles to his right side, puts up a running one-hander. It's short. Offensive rebound, blocked by Banks, and they're saying Banks got a little bit of the arm as well. Clock continues to roll. 6:01 to play in the game. 26-14, Bentalou has erased an 11-4 deficit to take a 12-point lead.
Cherry Hill's got to start, if they're going to be in this ball game, they've got to start making them move now by converting the free throws. There's one.
At the line is number 2, Henry James. He converts the first free throw from Carter G. Woodson Middle School, and a timeout taken by Cherry Hill. Herman Johnson on the side, talking to his Bentalou Ball Club, an 11-point lead with 5:39 to play in the game. We want to remind you there have been some other championship games played today. In the 10-12 boys championship, Cecil Kirk and Bentalou. The final was Bentalou beating Cecil Kirk 38-27. It was 18-17 Cecil Kirk at the half, but Bentalou came out with a full court press in the third quarter. They turned up the pressure, took a 26-23 lead after 3, and they ended up winning at 38-27. High scorer for Bentalou was number 1, Tay Johnson, and Russell Young, number 5 for Cecil Kirk, played very well. Bentalou wins the 10-12 boys division 38-27. The boys 14-16 division has also been played. Cecil Kirk and Upton, and the final was Cecil Kirk 52, Upton 41. Upton had a 25-18 lead at the half, led by Lamel Foster with 7 points. But Cecil Kirk able to come back in the second half. Congratulations to Anthony Lewis and the boys over at Cecil Kirk.
Well, I tell you, that Cecil Kirk Bentalou contest was a well-played contest, but more importantly, it there were 2 recreation centers that really go after each other, not only during the winter months, but of course the summer months. And Herman Johnson and Anthony Lewis, they take great pride in their program, and it was a tremendous ball game.
Back at the line for Cherry Hill, and the second of 2 free throws is good for Henry James. That cuts the lead now to, I believe it should cut it to 10. The scoreboard says 26-15, so apparently that's where it is right now, with 5:37 to play in the game. Down the other way, travels with the ball as he tried to stop and pivot, but moved the other foot. Darren Down, youngster for Bentalou. Alonzo Lynn looking at Cherry Hill.
They've got to have a purpose now. They've got to come down. They've got to settle down.
Bentalou also having a purpose. Good defense there. Jump ball. Good battle. Lamont Johnson for Cherry Hill. And Dominic Brown for Bentalou. And let's see which way the arrow points. Take a look at the last replay here. As you see why the jump ball was called. Ball belongs with Bentalou.
Both players fighting for the ball, and possession goes to, or arrow goes to
Cherry Hill. Cherry Hill basketball. That's a wild shot put up. I'm sure not what Mr. Lynn wanted.
No.
An 11-point difference. Bentalou leads it. Here's Down to Parrott, who's checked back into the game, and he travels with the ball. So play getting a little ragged here in the final stages.
Coach Johnson is yelling to his players to catch the ball, look first.
And here's another turnover the other way for Cherry Hill. Jabbar Foster, who's been a presence in the second half, turns it over this time. It's interesting to note that the big man, Damon Banks, is checked out of the game for Bentalou.
I think Coach Johnson is going to give him a little breather there and bring him back in probably a few minutes. But Gary, Cherry Hill has they've got to settle down now. They're right there in the ball game.
Nice pass from Parrott.
Nice give and go.
Underneath, and Deron Strickland. So that's a name we haven't mentioned too much in the second half. He gave him a big lift in the first half.
Exactly, but that's fundamental basketball. You enter the ball into the block and you cut, and you'll get it right back.
28-15. It's a 13-point lead for Bentalou with 3:20 to play in the game. Foul underneath called on Bentalou, and Cherry Hill now will have an opportunity to inbounds from underneath their basket. Cherry Hill had the early lead here, 11-4 in the second quarter. Since then, 24-4. Bentalou has turned up the pressure, has gotten very good play from Damon Money in the Banks, and they've been able to turn it around.
That's correct. Banks has played a whale of a ball game, Strickland, and as I said earlier, little Darren Downs has really come in and settle his teammates down.
Keith Laney is also checked into the game now for Bentalou. Henry James is on the line for Cherry Hill. First shot is short. Here's a situation where if you go to the line late in the game, it really costs you if you're behind because the clock runs.
Exactly.
Downs the other way, takes it all the way, everything but the shot. Battle for the loose ball, pulled down by Campbell. He walks with it, and it goes back to Bentalou.
That's that pressure.
Down, pass intended for Banks, stolen by Cherry Hill. Nice play by LaCurtis Johnson. Up ahead for Lewis. Can he convert? No. But he draws the foul from Parrott. And he will go to the line. Let's take a look at it, Bob.
Well, who's this? Mr. I think this is Mr. Lewis.
Darren Lewis.
Lewis had a breakaway, but of course, Bentalou comes from nowhere and gets the block.
Practicing that follow-through, as you
say.
say.
This is a scrappy little player here.
He Doesn't quite get all of that.
No.
Here comes Damon Banks back into the game, the big guy. Karen Porter checks out.
He's alternating between his big kids, between Banks and Porter.
Actually, excuse me, Parrott. Right.
Parrott,
Not
yeah.
Porter, Parrott. Lewis' second free throw does not go either, out of bounds. 1:55 to play in the game. Bentalou appears comfortably ahead right now, 28 to 15.
Yes,
it looks like they will capture the 8-10 boys championship here in the third annual Mayor's Holiday Basketball Tournament from Lake Clifton.
That's a good call. You know, Gary, what's nice about the tournament also enables the parents to come out and support their young people. And I see a lot of parents in the stand tonight, and it's really great to see. It's a holiday time of year.
We saw earlier, Bob, in the 10-12 boys game, the final between Cecil Kirk and Bentalou, the Bentalou contingent was real vocal. I mean, they really very vocal.
You would think it was a college basketball atmosphere.
Absolutely. And put up and in, a beautiful move inside by Henry James. And now a turnover by Bentalou, and all of a sudden, 28-18 is our score, and Cherry Hill with the ball. Oh! Put up and in, a line drive by Jabbar Foster.
Man, they got to push up defensively.
Let's see, Money in the Banks if he can handle the pressure. Gets it up across the timeline, and a travel called on Strickland. All of a sudden, with 1:19 to go and the clock stopping now, Cherry Hill might have an opportunity.
Cherry Hill has got new life now. Let's see if they can capitalize.
Here comes Foster, who's played well in the second half.
Inside.
Pass for James, he can't put it in, and it's pulled down by Banks.
Yes, Banks said, let me take over now.
Banks dribbles the other way and dribbles past Foster, who fouls him. Banks getting a well-deserved breather for a moment there. And Banks will go to the line for the 1-and-1. Let's take a look.
Banks is he's leading the break. Makes the pass, but he gets tripped. Unfortunately, he's okay.
And Banks cannot convert for Bentalou. 28-19 is the official score, with 1:04 to play in the game. And it'll be Cherry Hill, or rather, it'll be Bentalou Basketball. Dwayne Banks will go to the line. So Dwayne Banks, Damon Banks, and Deron Strickland have been the three keys. And as you said, Bob, Darren Down came in and settled this team down.
He did a fine job.
Second free throw won't go. Imagine what the score might have been had they been able to convert their free throws this game.
Hey, I tell you, I would not want to imagine.
Here comes Cherry Hill, under a minute to play in the ball game. James underneath, shot off the glass, no good. Who else but Banks with the rebound? Up ahead to Down. Can he convert? Everything but the shot. Strickland with the turnaround. His shot won't go. Travels with the ball when it goes over to Cherry Hill.
I tell you, Bentalou, they are pounding the boards. I don't know what Coach Johnson told them, but they have controlled both offensive and defensive boards.
Lewis gets it up across for Cherry Hill. Nice pass underneath on the baseline. Oh, a beautiful play. Michael Campbell with the pass to Jabbar Foster. And they get the basket there. Out of bounds here. 28-21 is our score. Cherry Hill is drawn to within 7. But it will be Bentalou Basketball.
Well, I tell you, Coach Lynn and parents, let me put it that way. Coach Lynn and parents refuse to let these young people quit.
But here's a big steal by Banks, and his layup is short. Cherry Hill with a new life. Pulled down by James.
They need a shot.
To Foster. That shot is short by Campbell. Banks with the rebound. Up ahead to Down. Can he save it? Yes. The shot won't go by Laney, but it's kept in by Laney. Down's in the corner, hits it. At the buzzer. So Darren Down puts an exclamation point into the victory for Bentalou as they have beaten Cherry Hill 30-21.
I tell you, it was a well-played game by both teams. Cherry Hill starting the scoring out first. Bentalou calling a timeout, selling their youngsters down. Coach Herman having called